story, a thrice weekly campaign set in the beautiful, amazing, sometimes underwater world of Imea. We are here with our Wednesday night crew, minus one of our minus our halfling friend. Yes. So, Jamie, we miss you, but we understand. Also, telling Dana, his wife, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Dana.
Happy birthday.
So this is our friends in the Mongoose Crew. Everybody go ahead and take a look at the camera, wave, and say hi.
Hi.
Cool. I feel like all of you are waiting to hear the hi from someone else before saying anything. Mm-hmm. Or it could be just my camera. Yeah, but it's all good. So jumping into tonight's session, before we get too far, just a couple things right up front. So for those of you who are interested in first off, for those of you who happen to watch our Candela Obscura playtest that just finished up last Thursday, hopefully you enjoyed that. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, feel free to check it out. It is in the YouTube channel under the live settings or playlist settings under Candela Obscura. But if you're interested in actually joining that game as we go into chapter 2 of that session, going into a full new circle, if you're interested at all in jumping into that, I will leave a comment here in the live chat of how to be able to join that game. Or if you're interested in joining our fourth and most likely final campaign that will be in the world of Imea, running at the same time as our fellow players here, I will be putting that in the comments as well. That would be known as Tales of Imea, the Islands, looking at what is south of South Imea. So I will leave both of those in the chat here. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. So before we jump into tonight, let's go ahead and have our Royal Scribe please give us the space of understanding where we left off.
All right. So we started off as Seren, who is making her way to the grove because she doesn't know where else to go. And so she has a giant friend who is helping carry her and Gerard down this mountain. They travel most of the day and end up at nightfall hearing some water. So Seren, they camp down for that night. And the giant Krakus tells her that there's one more day of travel. So Seren decides to explore and heads towards the water. And she finds basically a 2-mile wide river and sees a large ship, which leads to her sitting down and reminiscing about her past life. She thinks about leaving Valinor on a ship with pirates and some past loves. There's some drunken sparring and some fade to black sexy time. And she also thinks about Lucia and Jack, people that she has not told us about because we know nothing about Seren. There you go. And then Gwar and Eldryn are in Enoria. Even though they're together, they're separated. Gwar is alone in Zarus's office and explores, and it becomes just fixated by a sea slug. Gwar's sword, the wind saber, illuminates magic stuff in the room and finds like lots of runes and also a lot of stuff that just glows bright pink, except the sea slug, which again he's fixated on, is very bright green, and it also seems to understand Gwar. Zarus pops back into the room and tries to get Gwar's help, but Gwar's too obsessed with the sea slug, and every time Zarus asks for something, Gwar says, yeah, but what's its name? What do you do with it? What's its purpose? And Zarus tells him basically that it's an experiment to see if life can be prolonged and to talk to him in about 10 to 20 years, and he'll tell him if it worked. Zarus then lets Gwar know that he thinks that there's either an imposter or some spell at play because he lost 10 seconds of his life. that man. And then Gwar agrees to help and that we need to do something and yells for Eldryn. And Eldryn can hear him because he's so loud on the other side of the castle, and sends him a message to come meet her in her father's office. So then we popped over to Eldryn and Noros, who are looking for Volmos, Eldryn's missing half-dead brother. And so Eldryn sends Noros out to there's a tunnel system thing, and so Eldryn sends Noros to the only exit, and she goes through the tunnel to see if she can find him. And she uses 2 messages and does not really get any response back from him. All she gets kind of is a "Where are we going again?" as if he's talking to someone else instead of responding to her. And when she gets through the tunnel, Eldryn and Noros were basically informed that Noros already came through the tunnel 2 minutes ago. So there is something going on there. So Eldryn then decides that she needs to go talk to her father and asks the head guard Generous to protect her other siblings. And before she goes off to find her father, Zarys shows up after he popped away from Gwar, and tells her that everything's fine. He has a tracker on Volmos, so he'll help her find him if Eldryn helps him. So then Zarys once again pops away, and Eldryn goes to tell her father what's going on. So she heroically owns up to everything that she's ever done wrong, and then blames her mom immediately. And then finds out that her mom is actually on land right now talking to the king of Imea. And then Corvus gets super serious, and Eldryn finds out that Joe ripped apart her loving family, and that there's no more secrets to be told in this in this family. And so Corvus and Eldryn talk alone for a little bit, and as far as the kingdom is aware, everything's fine in the NRF family. It's just it's not fine in the bedroom. And then Corvus and Eldryn head towards the door to figure out the Volmos situation. Going back to Gwar, Gwar is helping Zarys with this spell, basically, and which is really just Zarys throwing a bunch of books at Gwar and reading really fast. And he casts a spell to find Volmos, tells him it's going to take about 10 minutes, and also gives Gwar a book called Magic for the Beginning Wizard in You, which has comprehend languages on it, so Gwar can read it. Okay, and then we have Milo. So Milo and Duchess and Cavish are heading, are traveling in these woods, and Duchess hears water and heads towards that. And while they're kind of relaxing, and Duchess is taking a shower with a waterfall, Milo spots the chicken house coming towards him. So Milo runs a full 10 minutes to get to it, and realizes when he gets in there that Broomhild is not there, but the house definitely recognizes him and invites him in. He sees some things like claw marks on the floor and investigates those, but basically in Milo fashion, he decides to tidy up the house, and while doing so, finds Broomhilda's diary, and it was pretty clear that the house wanted him to find it. So he surmises a few things from the diary. He reads some stuff about Gwar, and also basically the whole reason she has it is because she found a way to stop physically aging and is afraid she's going to forget things. And then he also finds a footlocker that unlocks magically, and with a bundle of scrolls, and what we think, I don't think Milo made the connection because of his role, but we think is the bloodstone that Wilbur had at one point. And Milo's wolf abilities seem to react oddly to it. He also finds a scroll of sending that, sadly, because he's not a magical person, forgets that you shouldn't just use it, and then does, and then fails, and then it doesn't go anywhere. He doesn't know that, though. And then Milo is very sweet and introduces Duchess and the house to each other. Then they travel again until nighttime and reach a camp. And I don't know if I got this name right, Joe. He meets a blonde wood elf named, is it Basil?
Basile, yes.
Basile, okay. I was close.
Yeah, you were.
And did they call it the city above the ground?
Actually, they only really refer to things as the family. So the actual the geographical place is not named.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so they tell him that Duchess is not going to be able to fit. So she's going to hang tight where she's at, and in the morning, the druids that live in the city can try and help come up with something for Duchess to come through. So Milo with Basile flies up into the canopy, and there's a bunch of treehouse apartments with a variety of races and basically just a lot of downtrodden and lost people. He then meets another South Eye man who happens to also recognize Milo and is Demorin Vinrona, who these people found and thought to be dead, but he definitely wasn't. And then he, after recognizing Milo, whispers, "I felt them burning everyone." Not ominous at all. And that's it.
All right, very cool, awesome. So diving into our diving in from there, I apologize for laughing, but I was just laughing in my head that there was mentioning the idea that I've broken up your family, and then specifically mention the idea that everything's fine, it's just in the bedroom, as if that was my, as if that's what I made to be the specific part of that. No, it's not. It's a little more complicated than that, but yes.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. All right.
My mom just needed a little vacation from her life and family and responsibilities. She's fine.
She needed to get her groove back.
Everything's fine.
Yeah. She comes back with a younger boyfriend.
Yeah.
Tay Diggs.
Jeez. Okay. Cool. Did I put Basile on there? No, I did not. 6, 2, 3.
Florian, real quick, what's Eldryn's mom's name again?
Eldryn.
Eldryn. Okay. Eldryn. Eldryn.
Okay. Not to be mistaken with Erlin or any of the other inns.
Or any of the Enorians.
Lars not going to remember, so he's just going to be like, Rin.
Yeah.
Queen. I'm retiring the Wombat notebooks, you guys. I'm going to type everything from now on.
No.
It's too much stuff.
Oh, no.
We had a good run.
I get it.
This is why I always start off great with notes, and then when the story gets too much, I'm like, I can't take notes. I'm going to have to watch again. So
yeah.
Notes.
Yeah, I feel that. Okay. So, we're going to actually, for a couple of this, because you guys are kind of split up in different sort of areas, we've been having you guys kind of roll to see what who goes first and the space of that. But I'm going to say for tonight, because we had a significant chunk that was missing from Wilbur's backstory last week, we're just going to start with Wilbur.
Yay.
So,
I hate going first.
Good, I'm glad.
Kayla hates going first too, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
I love going first.
All right, roll to see who goes first. Just kidding.
Oh, crap.
Why is that not? Sorry, gang. 1 second. Oh, I see. Okay. So we'll put that here. It's not very loud. Sorry to ask this now, but do you guys hear underwater stuff?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. All right. Let me know if that's too much or whatever. Okay. So, to recap a little bit specifically for Wilbur's moment, because we kind of breezed through a lot of it coming to the end. So Wilbur, you met the younger Zarus. He brought you to his temporary office being shared with the priest at the time, which I do not have his name in front of me right now.
It is Vernus.
Vernus, yeah. And he hates him. He's such a bully to him.
I know, it's Vernus's office. What the hell?
Yeah, totally. So yes, so understanding that Zaris is actually late to a name day ceremony of our esteemed Enorian, I believe what would be Eldryn's grandfather. It's his.
Yeah, I believe. Wait, let me make sure. Yeah, it's Eldryn's grandfather.
Okay, cool. Because it's okay, cool. So during this ceremony, we kind of sped through that time because a lot of it is very much a full just like. I imagine in the cinematic of this realm, the name day ceremony does not take up enough importance in our story, I will say, to do nothing but try to breeze through it. So we do see Wilbur kind of. I think we kind of just like zoom in on Wilbur in this scene as he is peeking through a crowd of just of cloaks of figures that are both standing on the bottom of the seafloor as well as kind of like floating up above. Or swimming up above, excuse me. And as you're kind of peering through, you're seeing what's going on. You're seeing very much a Lion King-esque sort of ceremony of a very small Triton male being lifted into the air, and the crowd is cheering. And it's a very exciting time. You realize that you're still, I think there's a point where we look at Wilbur, like kind of like clapping along, but just looking maybe like nervously around and waiting to see that the ceremony is now over so you can continue to talk to Zaris and figure out what's going on. Unfortunately, at that point, you see the priest kind of bring the boy down and continue to talk. We're hearing like a warbling sort of speech in the background as Wilbur. I think you instinctively just roll your eyes, recognizing that this ceremony is not done yet. There is in the distance we can hear this interesting sort of like booming thunder sound, something that you definitely notice a couple of heads further down in the honestly thousands of Enorians that are here watching this. You see a sea of because you're underwater. You see a sea of turned heads that kind of look back around at that noise. That is an odd sort of sound to hear. You hear that sound get bigger as all of a sudden a strike of lightning goes through the water and hits directly in front of the big open air, the crowd and and separating the royalty and important figures. As that figure gets kind of hits the ground, stands up, looks around, and you see. Actually, I'll say, Eldryn, if you want to tell me what Jovos looks like in this, give me a description.
I am the worst person to do this. He looks like a Triton. I'm sorry. I have nothing in my head for it.
For Jovos, you see I would say probably like a younger version of Corvos in a lot of ways. Definitely skinnier, very fit looking. Like as far as like the idea of like in a human perspective sort of look, like probably in his early 20s, maybe even a little earlier than that. You see, even with that, the hair is already like a grayish white. you see a trident on his back, but no other like specific like armor or anything like that. You see at first the guards all around immediately put their weapons to him, see who they are, and look to the king. Karnos, who kind of just makes a wave for his hand as he recognizes his brother. You see Jovos comes running forth to the king, passing by his newly named nephew. And there's a conversation that's going on, and you hear it's hard to hear what is being said, even from your perspective, Wilbur. I think mostly because you're hearing over this a cacophony of murmurs, and all in languages that you understand, but it's still it would be like a second language to you as well. So hearing them in broad sort of spaces, what you do know is that this is highly irregular. Something's wrong. At this, you see Zaris kind of steps forward and is standing about maybe like a foot away from Joseph's face as they're conversing, and then you see Zaris unabashedly, in a space of pure confusion, turns from facing opposite to you, turns slightly, at least from the waist up, and just looks directly in your direction. He's probably far enough that you can't see whether or not he's looking right at you, but you feel pretty confident he's looking right at you. At this, Wilbur, you see a couple other eyes in the crowd looking over in the direct. You see over on the other side, the opposite side, you see there's people that are kind of like pushing over heads to kind of see what is Zaris, what is the High Mage looking at. Wilbur, what do you do in this moment? Are you trying to be stealthy here? Are you just staying put?
I think I would lock eyes with Zaris and literally just shrug.
Love it. Awesome. You see Zaris after about a full second looks back to the king, seems to say a couple things, bows, and then guides Jovos into the kind of royal sort of space. As you see, Jovos is clearly disgruntled, I think would be the best word for that. So we cut to the ceremony continues forward. So we cut to after the ceremony, as people are being escorted away from this area. You see a guard, a couple guards start to kind of push you along with the rest of the crowd. You kind of feel the movement. It's hard to kind of even make your way through the people to even kind of stand where you are. As you see one of the a couple of the guards coming to approach you specifically to kind of make you move. One of them kind of cocking his head slightly as you are an odd form for him to see. You see the red robe of Zaris just appear right in front of them. Just misty step, and just kind of waves him off. I think literally just says, shoot, please, thanks. And you see them kind of just turn around and walk off. Zaris looks over at you and so in this space, I'd say you see there's royalty the royal family is still there. They're in a weird sort of space of celebration and happiness, and you notice that Jovos looks like he's actually been pushed a little bit outside of this circle right now, and you can see he is disgruntled, has come to straight annoyance and frustration. But Zaris kind of like steps in front of your viewpoint of this. Okay. It seems that that you're I apologize. I assumed, as one would logically, that you were suffering from some sort of condition. It seems like that is most likely not the case. I do not know if it is a good idea to consult with the royalty directly right now. I think it might be best for us to go back to my office and talk.
Yes,
but I will ask if you would like a word with the king.
No. No, I don't think I should talk to anyone except you.
For the record, for this moment, and we might have changed that a little bit from a couple weeks ago, but I'd say, Wilbur, in this moment, you're not entirely sure what just happened. All you see is Zaris looking at you in a space of, like, being confused, and then coming to you saying that it looks like there's some validity to your story.
Yeah, it's nothing that Wilbur's going to, like, ask him about in public, though, within earshot of people.
Okay. Fair enough. Cool. So I think we cut back to Zaris's temporary office. You see him. He's sitting. He is sitting at the desk with his feet fully propped up on the desk that you know is not necessarily his. But he's like kind of like stroking his chin. So, tell me from the beginning. How did you get here?
Well, I really, very truthfully have no idea. I was in my home. There was a loud message, and suddenly I poofed away.
What did the message say?
It was just a very vague message from an evil person.
Okay. That's not giving me a lot of details to work with, Wilbur. You've been whisked away to this time period that you say that you are. Do you know how long it's been? Do you know where you're supposed to be time-wise?
I think if I remember correctly from stories I've been told, if what I think happened today happened, then it's maybe 150 years. Do you care to tell me what happened today?
How do you know what happened today?
Because I've heard stories in the future about this day.
For the record, Wilbur, you left out anything involving you being on the top of the coral wall, or there's a lot that you've left out here. So I would say it makes sense that Zaris is very confused, and I'd say at this point probably on edge.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
So
when
okay.
when a wizard's asking you, tell me exactly what happened for you to get here, very much detail oriented. As much detail as you can give is what he's looking for.
So, retcon. So,
Okay.
When I was poofed away from my home, I ended up there on a small area.
Where is your home? Where is that?
Oh, my home is in a place called the Grove, and it's nowhere near water. Not like this. It's on a completely different plane.
You see him kind of like take his feet off the table, move over to a corner of the room, kind of wave his hand, and then a bookshelf just appears. And you see him kind of pull out a very it's like an atlas size book that he just kind of like puts on the table, and you see like ink like kind of like spills off to the side of the corner of the table, just flipping through. Do you know where this grove is in as far as the corners of the world? And he actually moves it over to you and pushes this large map forward. The map that you see is I'd say is pretty much correct for the most part. You notice that there are significant cities that are missing from here, specifically Grifton, which Grifton was in the process of being made when you were there. So you also see that Nova Sol is not there. There is a mark right next to Nova Sol that has a little question mark to it. And then you see most of the southern cities of South Imea that you haven't seen yet are listed there. North Imea is kind of cut off from a certain portion right now. But yeah, I don't like Wilbur. I'd say give me a survival check.
Yeah, I don't know how necessarily good. Oh, well, good. It would be like Wilbur would be at reading maps or whatever. Nat 20 for 27.
Okay, cool. That's funny. I almost gave you advantage because you are a ranger, so there's a level of like you have an understanding of the land. But yeah, cool. With a nat 20, the nat 20, you know exactly where it is. It is up to you to tell Zaris exactly where it is. With a nat 20, I won't make you roll a deception check to be like around this area.
Yes, I think Wilbur would find that exact point and say, here.
Okay, so you're pointing exactly where it's at?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Here.
I'm going to say in a weird time travel sort of thing of thinking about this, that means that Zaris will now know exactly where the grove is for the next 150 years.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay, right. And what is the name of this grove?
It's just called the Grove.
Okay.
I call it home, but...
Right, well, I'm not going to put home. Okay. Okay, so you're from there. Okay, continue. You were up on an island or something?
So, I was at the Grove, and there was an attack on the Grove. Led by an army that was recruited for a really bad person named Tall, excuse me. And after the battle, there was a message from Tall overhead, and then suddenly I was poofed away. And when I was poofed away somewhere, it was up above the water here on a small little island, and I started swimming with my companion Cerilius down, and along the coral reef we ran into a creature that swam us very fast down here, and that's how I got here. But I should mention that while I was up on that little island, I saw lights crashing to the earth.
I see.
That's how I know what today is.
Okay. You said tall, and he goes to the bookcase again.
I don't think
Wilbur,
you're going to be able
through.
to find his name in there.
Yeah. Let's say, Wilbur, you see him looking through. You know he's not going to find anything.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to find his name in there.
Oh, you'd be surprised. This bookshelf holds a lot of knowledge of things that are not just of this place. Is that tall with a T?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. After a few minutes, you see he is coming up plank. So, okay. I have no information under that name.
No, I didn't think you would, because as far as I know, Tall's existence starts today.
Oh, today. Okay. You see him kind of like lean back in his chair. That seems significant, no?
Yeah.
Tell me, when you were transported back to this time, did it seem like this was a purposeful spell that was directed at you?
Yes. I assume there were other people there with me, and I don't know where they are. I don't know if they're still in the grove or if they're elsewhere, but all I know is I ended up here. I assume it was purposeful, but I can't be 100% certain.
Okay. And have you had any contact with your friends that probably wouldn't have been born yet, depending on who your friends are?
Don't forget you saw through our eyes.
I did?
Did you hear that? Yeah.
Yeah, you saw through our eyes, and you saw that.
Oh, that's right. Right.
And you heard me say I was going back to Enoria, and that made you mad because I hadn't checked in with you yet.
Right. That's right. Did I don't think I saw any bird people though, right? I just saw you two.
No, he was in the jail cell. You just
saw us arguing. Yeah. And then my message didn't actually get to Wilbur, right? When I did ascending to him. Okay.
Mm-mm. No.
I tried.
I guess now that I think of it, at least two of my friends were in a jail cell, so I assume that everything was purposeful.
I see. It seems unlikely that. But why the day of? If what you're saying is true, and the figure, the entity that you call Tall was born on this day, and you were transported back from your current time period to this day, that seems a phrase that I typically just do not believe in. It seems coincidental, does it not?
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, 150 years, that's... oh, he would do this really quickly, but I should have been 150 years, that's 54,750 days. And it just happens to be this one. Curious. But you are looking to get back to your time. I have to be honest, I am a relatively capable mage, but I don't know if that goes within my expertise. Depends on if we have the ability to travel to different planes. If we looked at time as being a separate space of different planes of reality, it would. He starts to kind of just like trail off. He's trying to figure out something for himself as the idea of how would this work? What would this, And Wilbur, you're just kind of like, I think you're just patiently sitting there for a second. Is there anything you'd like to do in this moment while you see Zaris having a full conversation with himself?
The bookshelf is still there.
His magical one, yes.
Yeah. I guess I'd probably walk over to it and just see if there's like any book titles that stand out, like or any like random figurines on the bookshelf.
Okay. So for book titles that stand out, what are you specifically looking for?
Something that would.
You're looking at a wizard's bookshelf, so there's going to be a lot of things that you're just not going to understand.
Yeah. That's a really good question you asked me.
Okay.
I think while Wilbur was just looking through at all the books, because I'm assuming there's a ton of them, he would like interrupt Zaris and say, "Do you know where they took Cerilius, my companion that I was with?"
Yes, I believe they took him to see the clerics. He looks a little abashedly. This was, I did mention your current mental state, of which I assume he is of the same belief. But I can get him out of there once we figure this out. I think he takes a pause now at this point and just goes, Wilbur, here's the issue. I am about 57% sure this would work if there was a way to have contact in a specific place at the specific time you're wanting to move to. It would have to be exactly the same place, give or take 20 feet.
Give or take 20 feet.
The same place, the same time that you want to get to. If we can contact someone there on that side, that might be enough. And obviously with my skills as a mage and a fair bit of luck.
I really think that you should try to get Cerilius brought here, because Cerilius can probably help us. At least with ideas. He seems to have lost all his magical powers.
Okay, all right. I will I will do that. You wait here. If the father comes in, just ignore him. That's what I do.
Why do you dislike him so much?
Who? Oh, Priest Vernus. I don't dislike the man. I think everybody is able to make their own choices and how they live their life and how they spend their time, even with or without mistakes. So, please stay here. Do you need anything?
No.
Okay. All right. I will be back presently. And you see him exit out. So I'd say at this point, there's about 20 minutes goes by, and within that 20 minutes time, I'd like you to roll me a history check, Wilbur.
18.
18. With an 18, what I'm going to tell you as the DM is that the possible solution to this problem, Wilbur has access to. I'm going to say, thinking about your special gift that you have, it involves that, but it also would involve someone else.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. So I guess my question is, within 20 feet, does that mean that he can get me within 20 feet of where I want to go, or does it have to be like within 20 feet of where I'm presently at?
No, the scenario of what this spell would entail is that you would have to be exactly where the point of contact would be. It has to be in exactly the same place. Do you get what I'm saying? So if you have people on the other side in present day that are helping you out on this, where the access point of this whatever the contact is going to be in this has to be exactly in the same place as where you are at within 10 feet.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I think.
Okay. So if we were teleporting in two different like time zones, right? So let's say we were let's say I'm 150 years ago in this exact same spot and I need to be transported there. I'd have to be in this exact same spot.
Right. So I could like
in both time things, I'd me and the contact would have to be in the exact same spot.
Right. So I really so I know where I want to go, but I can't do anything until I somehow know that person is in that spot.
Right. That's your biggest problem, is figuring out how would you communicate with that person, and how would you be able to get that person to be able to be in that exact same spot.
Right. Interesting.
While you're thinking about that, 20 minutes goes by. You see Father Vernus comes in, has a stack of books just kind of in his hands, that's just kind of like falling out, and you see like he goes to like kind of like catch one, and you see all of the books sort of fall on the ground. I'd like you to make a perception check.
25.
25. Okay. With a 25, you notice that the one of the books seems to slide under a cabinet or under like an actual bookshelf here. And you see Father Vernus, who's not seen you yet. Oh dear. Okay. You can do this, Vernie. And goes to like grab the cabinet. And this is like an old man. Like it's an old Triton dude, just like trying to. All right. And is trying to move the cabinet.
Do you need help?
No. Yeah. Yes, actually. If you could.
I didn't mean to scare you. I'm sorry.
That's quite all right. I'm sure you're one of the High Mages. I'm sure you're meeting with him. If you could, if you're actually probably the perfect size. If you could, there's just a small little hole underneath here that you could possibly just push onto the other side to push this cabinet out.
Sure.
Okay, so you go to the other side. Go ahead and give me a strength check, low DC. Say athletics.
That will be an 11.
11. Okay. With an 11, yeah, you're able to maneuver. I think you get like kind of underneath, and you put your body up against the back of the cabinet, and you start to kind of push it forward. As you do so, you notice that there is a spot in the like stone. The floor itself, as we've kind of talked about a while back, the floor itself actually has like some like sort of version of like tiling here to make it look a little like a little like framed in a nicer sort of space. Everything wants to be flat and sort of do so. There must have been some sort of like underwater cementing that went on with the tiles. You notice as you do so, there is a tile that seems to wiggle a little bit. I will say at this point, just for the record, I obviously we're playing a lot of things in character, but anyone else can also jump in if there's ideas that they have.
Are you sure? Because I have so many.
I mean, this is a point where I would say, as a group, feel free to discuss.
Okay, my suggestion was you could use this. I don't know what your ability is called, the see through the eyes thingy, and figure out
wish of vision.
Yeah, if you have any left, and figure out where either me or Gwar are, because you have to probably switch with someone or work with someone in Enoria. I have an idea on how to make contact with you, but I won't do it because it doesn't make sense narratively unless I actually know you're alive. So that's the thing I'm struggling with.
Well, also, like, you weren't able to get a message through to me in the first place. Like, I'm just struggling with how to figure out how to make you stay in the same spot. Because Winona was able to tell that I was seeing through her eyes. But that's Winona.
Yeah.
Joe's looking at me like, yeah, you fucking idiot. That's what I want you to do.
I'm not saying that.
But Winona's not in Enoria. She has to... she's in Enoria, right? So she has to... the way Zaris explains it, go back to Enoria in the future, right?
Depending on where you wanted to do this, I would say.
Okay.
Because Wilbur
I will say, because Wilbur, I mean, because Miranda figured out this part, yes, that's one person that when you do that on, they seem to be aware and are able to converse with you, albeit it's broken up, right? So that is a person of contact. That is a way to do it. It's not the only way, but that's a way to do that. So the trouble here is to say, okay, if you were picking a specific spot, you'd have to make sure it's a spot that has been exactly the same for 150 years.
Mm-hmm. But then,
or you could. Okay.
do I have to go to that spot before, or I can just be here?
You have to be in the same place. If Winona's your contact, you have to be in the same places where Winona is.
Right. So first I would have to figure out where she is. So that would use one of my wish of visions.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would have to, well, yeah, I guess I would have to use it a second time then to make sure that she's still there. Unless I can communicate to her the first time to stay in that spot.
Right. You have no idea where Winona is right now.
Right.
I'd say you're trying to kind of get the full picture. I would say first things first. That's a way to do it. Again, that is not the only way, but it is a way to do it.
Is the other way to do it hidden secret in this loose floor tile?
The Merid might be under there.
I know. I don't want to go back under there. Fuck that.
He wouldn't be under Tall's.
Last time I went
I
below.
don't know.
That's true. But I don't think I'd...
My fear is if Zaris just sends you back, I'm like, this is a really good opportunity. We can stop Tall now.
I know. But it's just me. Like, it's
That's
just
true.
me.
But Tall's not that powerful yet.
I also don't know
Kill
where
him while
Tall
he's a
is,
baby.
though.
I know he's not a baby. I'm just saying, like, you know, the whole, like, would you kill Hitler when...
Well, he's
Right.
Wait. What if you try and find the Cerilius of the 150 years ago? Because the Cerilius you have now is useless, but there is a Cerilius of 150 years ago. Isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
Because he's the one that was supposed to take Tall back. And
yes,
everything.
technically there would be a Cerilius from 150
a
years
useful
ago,
Cerilius.
yes.
Yeah, but, like,
Oh my
what am I
God,
going
that
to
would
do?
be
Just show up with another Cerilius? Like...
Just leave him behind.
A younger, better-looking Cerilius.
Also, that'd be so sad if
I'm not sure how that would even happen, actually.
Because
You
like
find
it would make Cerilius feel bad about himself. Like,
No, I'm saying I don't know how that would happen in the scenario that we're talking about.
yeah.
There wouldn't be a space that I could think of that would be possible for Cerilius to see a version of himself.
Gotcha.
It would be really sad, though, if you did find Cerilius, the 150 years past one. I guess the present one now, not the future one. Because then it's like, are you the cause of the wombats being created? Because you gave him the idea.
Oh my
150 years
god,
ago.
and I'm the reason it all happened. Oh, I don't like it.
I love it.
Oh, I made my
Leave
own
little
existence.
warnings for Eldryn in the walls. Oh wait, could you like carve something in a wall or something, and then it would just show up in the future?
If only.
Leave me a note.
I think you guys are trying to figure out the every little piece, which is going to be tricky. Before getting, I think you need more information here.
I think
But-
the first thing I would do is get confirmation
Floorboard.
that Eldryn and Gwar are in Enoria, because you knew that's where they were going. But that's just me.
Floorboard.
So let me ask you this and this. For this scenario, if it was to, well, actually, I'm not going to ask you that because I think it just depends on what you guys are going to do. So yeah. So Wilbur, I'll say in this moment. So to be clear, yeah, I think just to kind of finish out that part of that scene. Yeah, you notice just a tile that's wiggling a little bit. Are you doing anything with that?
Is what's his name like watching me? Like, can he see that I'm noticing this tile?
No, he's on the other side of this bookshelf. So
Okay.
And it's like, for the record, like I'm giving you a low strength check, not because it's not hard to move. It's like a stone bookshelf. It's not like a wooden sort of thing. It's a heavy stone bookshelf.
I'm strong, okay?
Yeah.
My theory is it's all underwater, so it weighs less, right? I think Wilbur would say...
Not at this depth, but yeah.
Say very casually to the father, got a loose tile here.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll... okay. If you say that, yeah, he's gonna go, oh, okay, I'll have one of the, I'll make sure they fix that. Maybe we just leave the cabinet here and then we'll have them fix it. You kind of destroyed one of my ideas on that. Sorry.
Like good destroy or bad destroy?
So I'll tell you straight up what I was giving you. I was giving you something that you know most likely will not be changed in 150 years because this bookshelf is so heavy and this room looks exactly the same as it has when you first saw it.
Right.
But now that you told him there was a problem, now he's gonna fix it.
Well, my follow-up to that was gonna be, I don't think it needs fixed. I just don't want you to like trip on it or anything.
Okay, sure. Roll me a persuasion check.
Oh god, please be a good roll. 18.
18. Okay, cool. With an 18, he looks at that spot. And granted, this is not the only place. I was just giving you like an example of a place that you could do. He looks at that sort of spot and goes, well, I mean, how shaky is it?
Oh, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I only noticed it because I was down on
You don't
all
think it's going to
fours,
do any
kinda
structural
helping.
damage to the bookcase being over it?
No.
All right. Well, we'll keep it as our little secret, if that's okay. And if you want to help me, just kind of push this back.
Sure.
Okay. And you push it back into place. At this point, you see Cerilius. Cerilius comes in. You see the same sort of like bubble like thing around his head, albeit it looks actually a little bit more rudimentary. You can see it is actually like it looks like it almost has like this like plastic sort of film to it. You see him like kind of like coming in and just okay, and you hear like everything's kind of warbled to like a
Are you okay?
He said yes, much better.
Much better. Well, you look a lot better than when I last saw you. They didn't hurt you, did they? Okay. Did Zaris come in behind him?
Yeah, Zaris is behind him.
So, Zaris, Cerilius, Zaris.
Yes, we met. Hello again.
Did the father leave?
No, he's still in this room. He's like kind of like collecting papers and whatever. And I think as you're, well, go ahead, continue.
This is so rude. Father, do you mind if we just had the room? I feel so bad. This isn't even a real person, and I feel so bad.
I'm feeling your feeling. You see the father goes, yes, sorry. Yes, let me just collect the rest of the things. And you see the look like of like temporary happiness at being called at being called to attention on something, and then seeing it just melt off his face as you're asking him to leave his own office as Zaris has continuously done. Yes. Okay. High Mage. Excuse me. And he awkwardly, like it's a somewhat small room, so he has to like awkwardly shift, like around the opening and out the door.
It was really nice meeting you. I'm sorry again that I startled you.
That's it. You see Zara just roll his eyes. Okay.
I feel it in my chest right here. Like I'm so uncomfortable right now.
So we'll say if you want, we can pause the scene with you right now but I would say Wilbur, you want to actively think about what you're doing here and how you're going to make this work. You have the basics of what's going to work here, of what's assumedly going to work here. Like he said, there's a chance that it would work. All right, we're going to cut out to the same underwater location, but in a very different time and place. Very different time at least. As we are, I believe, still kind of in the hallways of the castle. Or no, you were the last scene was with your
Eldryn
father.
and her. Yeah, Eldryn and her dad were I think he had opened the door and they were going out, and Norris is in the hall. And I told Gwar where to go, so I don't know if he's going there. But yeah, that's where we're at.
Where are you going?
Oh, I told him I was in my father's office, and that it was on the other side of the castle.
So Mike just disappeared, but you with us?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Needed a prop.
Okay, so you're Gwar, I think as you're coming down to the tower, I think.
Right.
You get to a spot where you meet each other in this, and you see Eldryn and then her father right behind her.
And Nora's right behind us.
And Nora's right behind, yeah.
Hey everyone! I got a book!
Why are you reading what is wrong with you? Never mind.
Are you talking to me?
Zaris told us to meet him in like the I forget where he said. He told us where. I just can't remember, Joe. Like he's like courtyard or something like that.
I'm trying to remember why he would do that.
That's where we
because
saw
he wanted me to help him.
And he said hello.
Did he not tell us where to meet him? Because he said he wanted me to help him with my powers with Persona.
I'm totally blanking on that. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So last we left off, you were with your father explaining the situation with Volmos. Gwar, you were up in the tower talking with Zaris, who was basically trying to determine the idea that of
where Volmos is.
Not at all. He wasn't even necessarily concerned about that as much as he was concerned about the idea of being able to prove that he wasn't.
No, he already did.
He wasn't himself.
He was in the middle. He was in the middle of his spell though to find Volmos.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Because that's the only reason. That's the only way I'm going to help him. He already. Yeah.
Sorry. What I was saying is insinuating that like the problem would probably be helped in one and the same, but his concern is not really with where Volmos is.
Yeah, just like my concern is not with him at all. So.
Right, exactly.
How about let's just retcon and me and my father and Norris are coming up to the tower to where Zaris is.
That's probably the best.
It's easier.
So we'll see.
Yeah, and I got the book from Zaris. The
yeah. So I still say the same thing if you're just sitting there reading, and I'm like, why are you reading?
Oh, you're gonna scold me and judge me for reading now? I was waiting for you.
I told you where. Never mind.
I got a wizarding book. It's cool.
Hi, mate. This is Corvus.
Corvus! Hey, how are you?
What?
Your Majesty. Sorry, Your Majesty, and it's good to see you again.
We both look very sad, and I just look at you and I say, "Read the room."
No, I'm reading this. No, I'm reading this book.
Amazing.
You can't read a room. I guess you can. I don't know what these runes say though. There's runes everywhere, but I can't read them, so I'm just reading this.
Zaris, have you finished what you're doing yet? Have you located him?
If everybody could still shut up, there's still letters just flying around. And
See, I was being quiet. I was reading the book, and you came in here. You're an idiot for reading somehow. Whatever.
I'm trying to concentrate. This is why this tower is so far away from everybody. Okay. You see him pull the books that are kind of like flying around. You see them in this point they start to kind of shift away from the bindings and the pages themselves and start to kind of shift into spaces of letterings and letters set up in lines that probably represent words from different languages, and you see him start to kind of just pluck letters.
Is this what you meant by read the room?
Oh, please shut up. Please stop talking. This is very hard to do.
Well, you're the most powerful mage in whatever.
I heard that.
Good.
And you see him. He's doing this. He's probably have another awkward 2 minutes of this.
I'm just very slowly turning the pages, like.
And anyone who knows Eldryn, and it's not Gwar in this moment, so probably just Corvus and Noros, I am seething. Mm-hmm. Like, I am, like, I have fists right now, and I'm just glaring at Gwar.
And every time I turn the page, I look up at her and make eye contact.
I will say, Gwar, like, what you're reading right now is most likely the introduction, like, sort of like...
100%.
Like, yeah. So you're wanting to be a wizard. Tell me, where does that, like, what do you picture yourself as in a wizarding concept? If you were to be these things, here's the basic tenets that you need to be making sure and that you're following no matter what. So it's all
the same book he gave to the 10-year-old that he's teaching.
It's exactly
probably
the same book. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
You see, eventually, Zaris kind of pulls them together, and you see each like letter that he's taking has this like form of this like very like I picture it as a ball of this white little bit of blue light that is in the middle here that is actually glowing up around the entire room. You see the king kind of just watching and noticeably looking around the room in a sense of like, I really haven't been up here in a while. And finally you see him say, okay, hello, please. Oh, a book. I need a blank page from a book.
Okay, I go to his desk and I rip a page out of a book.
Oh, jeez, don't... Okay, all right. Well, hopefully that wasn't important. And you see him just push the ball into that page. And Eldryn, I would like you to roll me a D100, please.
Ooh, okay. I never find it. Here we go. And that. Okay. 58.
58, okay.
Remember, I locked down the city or the castle too. I blew the horn, Joe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's amazing. Okay, cool. Okay. Your excuse me, sire, your supposed brother is, well, here. And he just points to a spot on the map. And the map itself is in this, like, sort of like black and white. It's almost like it's almost looks like kind of like a lithograph of the known map that you have. So pointing at that area, it's not a place that you're particularly familiar with. You do know that it looks to be slightly north of South Hemea.
Wait, is he still in Enoria?
No.
What? How? Zaris is supposed to have spell. Okay, actually, no, I'm going to do this in character. How on earth did that happen, Zaris?
Indeed. It is a.
Aren't
it
you
is a big goal
supposed
for
to
sure.
have? Aren't you supposed to have safeguards? And
Come on, lady, not in front of the king.
oh no, we're
Yes,
gonna do this in
I,
front of
I-
the king.
All right. Okay. Fine. Yes.
We're gonna do
my
this in
liege.
front of
What have you been
apparently
doing?
Listen. It's been 150 years since I've made a mistake. Okay. So I really.
Oh, so maybe you're getting a little maybe you're getting a little too old for this job then, and the whole security of Enoria.
Whoa. Okay.
Oh,
Listen.
shit.
You know what? Good luck trying to find a replacement for me to deal with all of this. Okay. So that is where your supposed brother-in-law is. Take it or leave it.
What do you want me to ask Persona?
Looks at the king. How goes it in the afterlife?
Eldryn sighs and rolls her eyes and sits down in his desk, in his chair, and is going to cast Commune.
Okay. I will say, if you do ask this, he's clearly not wanting that to be his question. I think.
Oh,
I
know. I know what he wants.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
And Eldryn is going to relish saying it in front of her father in this moment. Because I think that's why he doesn't want to say anything.
Yeah, so you start to cast Commune. First off, you do notice that there is...
It's an awkward 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's an awkward 10 minutes. I would say it's a hard 10 minutes for you. I would actually like, and this is going to be a contested roll actually, because there are wards in this room. So your for magic that is not being, for any magic that's being cast that is not by him.
Okay.
But if you really want to rub Zaris's face in it, we can try and do it here.
I do.
So, okay, you got it. Go ahead and roll a. We'll say just roll it as a spell casting using your spell casting modifier.
Okay, that's a +4. Okay. Can I guide myself?
Yes, absolutely.
I wish my +4 worked here.
It's only fitting.
All right, 23. If I failed, I'm using my inspiration.
Okay. You didn't. It's harder. It pushes through. And I would say, as this is going on, when Eldryn is casting this, do you think Eldryn is is Eldryn able to like speak and converse during this time, or do you think like it's just full focus?
I think there's a lot of focus, but I think once I get through the first barrier, and it's like I don't have to have my eyes so much closed, I make eye contact with Zaris.
Okay, cool. So while that's going on, so the first part of it, you see just Zaris kind of like elbow you, Gwar, like in a way that he's a skinny mage dude. So it's not forceful, but it's the skinny elbows jabbing into your side. Yeah, it's very pokey. It's just goes.
And I also want to say you can see like the energy like fizzling out, because we've said before, like when Eldryn does spells, like either eyes turn a different color or like there might be some energy emanating. I think you can see it trying and fizzling, and when it works, it's like a light or something, and that's when she looks at him.
You got it. So you see like it seems like it's probably maybe like glowing in different proportions as it's like trying to kind of push itself out. And you see Zaris just watch this. This is I was going to tell her this wasn't the place to have it, and then that's when it works. Oh dear.
I just look up at Zaris and go, I'm just trying to read. Keep me out of this. And then I look over at Noros and I go, hey, how are you? Was she happy to see you? I like
you see
whisper it,
Noros just go like, Noros just looks at you and goes, dude, put the book away. Seriously, she's, for my sake, put the book away. Like
Okay,
you
all
see,
right, all right.
he looks pained. He looks like this was not the welcome home that he was hoping for at all.
Right, right.
Um,
So yeah, Gwar
You think
Gwar
it's the welcome
reluctantly.
home I wanted?
right.
It's okay. You'll be able to see her every other weekend. So he just kind of goes. Gwar just goes. What happened?
And Norris doesn't know about the parents thing yet.
Right.
He's been with us. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he knows.
I'm sure he could feel the palpable energy between me and my father when we walked out of
That's
the room.
what it is. He feels that energy and can tell that something's wrong for sure. He also knows. I think he knows that the queen's not there. So there's that too. So I don't think he puts two and two together, but those are things that he knows. So yeah, he seems. He goes. Thanks. And then this is when you're both looking at Zaris, who is now just blankly staring at the light that is now emanating through Eldryn, that seems to be like pushing out. You can see from like the window in the tower, you can see that it's actually like the sediment in the water is glowing out past it, which means that it's pushing outside of these walls. You see a very just like a look of like, it shifts from a look of confusion to anger to defeat. I think that's what it is.
He just goes through the 5 stages of grief, like.
Yeah, he like truly does. Like I think that's really what it is.
No,
except for the last
maybe,
one. Yeah,
maybe. All right.
Yeah, he's definitely not accepting it. That's for sure. You cast me. What would you like to ask for song?
Oh, I haven't cast a spell.
How goes it?
Yeah, how goes it in the afterlife? In the afterlife. Sorry, give me one sec. Where are you? I know I always have it prepared.
That would be a good T-shirt.
And yeah, I cast it as a ritual. That's why it took 10 minutes. I honestly, though, the best part is, guys, is that I could have cast it not as a ritual, and it wouldn't have taken this long.
Perfect.
Anyway, first question. Is there someone in this castle impersonating Archmage Zaris?
Is there?
Mm-hmm. Or was there?
Does the voice that answers back, does it answer out only to you, like in your head, or is it?
We've done both, because one time you had it where it was Venris, and then another time you had it when I hadn't prayed. It wasn't the reason, but where I didn't hear anything, it was more of like gentle, like breezes or something like that. So I don't know what you want to do. Yeah. And then before it's just been like a yes or no. But I don't know if it's been out loud because I've always done it alone.
Okay, you got it. Cool. Yeah, I think in the space of your cleric levels and everything, kind of getting to this into this this point of jeez, what's the word I'm looking for? Not severity, but just you're powerful. And in this point, I think you get straight answers. So you hear just a big kind of like booming sort of voice that pushes out. You can hear it kind of echoing as if it's underwater. Underwater, bouncing off of, instead of like walls and things, like just like bouncing off of the streams of water itself, and you hear a yes.
Is that okay? I guess my next question then is that person still in Enoria?
You get an answer back, no.
I don't know how much Zaris knows about this spell, but I'm pointedly going to look at him and use my last question and say, is Wilbur alive? Not using it for Zaris.
Mm-hmm. I mean, really, that's actually what Zaris wanted, was to know if he was going insane. So you did answer his question. But I'll say, is Wilbur still alive? Wilbur. Roll me a religion check. You may be muted.
14.
14? Okay. Okay. You hear a voice in the midst of whatever is happening with you right now, as you are in the Temple of Persona while this is happening. You hear a voice that says, is Wilbur still alive? You hear it kind of like echoing in your head. Eldryn, you hear a response of yes.
Eldryn closes her eyes and takes a really, like, it's like she just sighs in relief. And then the spell ends. And I stand up. Where on that? So on the map that he pointed, is it anywhere near where my mother is going, or did go?
I will say Zaris is forcibly being difficult here, because you did ask him straight up where it was. The area where that's at, it does look like it's probably about maybe it's about 200, maybe 250 miles from Eisenheim.
Okay. So I look at Zaris and I say, okay, well, you got your answers. Can you be more clear on where Volmos-esque is?
Admittedly, I can't be safely assuming 100% of anything anymore, it seems. But the place that you're looking for, he's not looking at it. He knows exactly what the place that you're looking for is named Eriskar.
Do I know that name? I think Seren knows that name.
I don't think so.
Do I know that name?
History check. You might have.
History. Oh, that's a 10.
No.
Yep.
Okay, well, at least we know he's not. I turned to my father. At least we know he's not coming to stab you again.
Yes, that is good news, and I'm sure you're going to do whatever you're planning to do.
I don't even know what to do in this moment. Is it even worth going after him?
Dada, do you want my opinion?
Yes, I do.
No part of me believes that is your brother. So no. I'll say, if you look at Noros, Noros is like... Noros looks at Corvos and then looks at you with a facial expression of... Because you know him very well, with a facial expression of, your dad doesn't know everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I just told him that Persona told me it was.
Mm-hmm.
That, okay.
while they're talking, I kind of nudge Noros and I get his attention very like as quietly as Gwar can, and I turn around and I go, "Did you see the slug?"
Okay.
No, so do you see how bright green it is?
Yeah, there's a lot of slugs down here, Gwar.
Okay, but I'm not used to seeing them, and it's over there, and I think it understood me. It was really interesting.
Dude, I can only handle one mystery right now.
That's fine. I just want you to come on. You need a little bit of joy in your life. You Enorians are so tightly wound. You're so serious all the time. Find some joy.
Man, there's so much there's so much of that is not true, except for this like the situations that they've been continuously. I think Noros really like responds to that like emotionally, because like life used to be a lot simpler before I got involved with Eldryn and Wrath, in this way at least. So yeah.
Which totally makes sense, because my only experience with Enorians is with the Enarath family and the satellites of them. So, yeah.
So my answer to my father, though, when he says that he doesn't believe any part of Volmos is in this person, I take a moment and I say, "That's a lie. I don't believe you. Why would you have kept this person alive for over a year? You could have had him executed at any moment. You could have had him banished. Instead, you kept him in a cell."
If I would have had an execution, that execution would have to be recorded.
I'm sure Zaris would have done it for you for free.
You see, Zaris is not in this room right now at all. You see, Corvos kind of looks out. Corvos looks.
We both are like, "Oh, he's gone."
Yeah, he's not. He's physically there.
He's physically there. I'm like, he's gone.
He's physically there. He's just not. His brain is not in this room. Corvos kind of looks over at him. It was an option. Your mother thought it best if he rot in the dungeon.
Well, I know it doesn't mean much right now because she's not here, but she's on the same page as me on this.
As I said, daughter, you do what you must. You asked my opinion and I gave it. But I will assist you in any way I can. Please keep in mind that you are also... Your mother has not briefed me on updates involving your case in Eisenheim.
Okay. I mean, I guess I could always check in with whatever that lawyer guy's name is. I do have this shell phone.
And with that line, I do have the shell phone and bringing this up to the front area. We're going to take that moment to take our 10-minute break, eh? It is 10:15 now. Why do I say? I don't need to say that anymore. You guys know what time it is. We'll see you guys in 10 minutes. Bye. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can.
All right, cool. Sorry, I was talking with Miranda, and she did not tell me that we jumped back on. I was hoping she would. Okay, so it's fine. So we're going to move over to back above on land.
I have a question.
Go ahead, go for it.
So, so Saren's gonna go, and then before you get back to Wilbur, can I do one thing that I think will help with trying to figure out how to get Wilbur back? I didn't get the chance to do it because of all the other stuff. It's okay if you don't want to.
Is this something that would be meta? Because you're not really sure what's happening with Wilbur right now.
No, that's the whole reason why I asked if Wilbur was alive.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Now I can do the spell I wanted
absolutely.
to do. Okay.
So we'll swing it back to you and then go back to Wilbur. So
yeah, it can just be a real quick thing.
That's totally fine. Cool. All right. So going to Seren. I think we cut to in a vision of Seren kind of sitting up on like a very small like cliffside overlooking the water that's kind of like splashing up onto the shore from this very large river. We see Seren seems to be like deep lost in thought. There is a rustling in a nearby bush that Seren makes you snap out of the vision that you're currently in.
So she's gonna.
It's about maybe like 20 feet to your right.
So she immediately looks over there and sees if she can see anything.
You see a small bush with like a heavily leaved, so it's kind of hard to see if there's anything inside. And you just see it's just moving slightly. Not the entire bush, I'd say, just like maybe even just like a portion of it.
She's gonna get up and kind of sneak towards it, trying to be stealthy in the process.
Okay, you do so.
Does she see anything as she gets closer?
Are you looking in it?
Yep. If she gets that far, she will.
Okay. I say nothing changes as you move closer to it. So yeah, because I said it's only, did I say 10 or 20?
20.
20. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, 20 feet away. No real change. I think you occasionally see it like stop and then sort of shake again. As you look inside, tell me, Seren, in your way of doing this, do you feel like you're on alert? And if you are, how would that look?
I don't know if she's necessarily on alert, just because it was such a small, like, rustling. But she would be very cautiously, like, moving like a couple leaves at a time, very slowly looking into the bush.
Okay. As you look into the bush here, you see a nest. The nest itself is no bigger than your hand. You see there is a couple of very small baby birds. They look to be one of them is almost purely white, but it has like a couple of has a couple of feathers of this gray, like this like silvery gray and blonde. That is kind of pushing from the beak onward. The beak is like a deep orange, The other one that you see shares the same colorations, but kind of like flipped in reverse. There's a it's a gray with like the white and blonde kind of showing up in the face. And you see the gray one is actually trying to maneuver out of the nest. You see these birds are very small, seem to be very young. You see, as you peer in, you see one of them just kind of like looks at you and just
she
gives a
looks
small chirp.
She looks at it and says, "Oh, I'm sorry for disturbing you." And she moves the leaves back over top of it.
You see as it kind of pushes back in. You see it continue to rustle. It's getting pretty dark. So I'd say if you wanted to move back to camp, you could. But yeah, the floor is yours. Whatever you'd like to do here.
Say she'd sit there for another couple of minutes and like move back like 20 feet again, and just kind of watch it, see if like it's their mom comes back or anything.
Okay. You as you move back to watch it, about maybe like a minute and a half goes by until you hear you hear and see a soft like thump, as one of the birds seems to have fallen to the ground.
Aww.
Gets back up. Doesn't seem to be okay. You see the shake of head and the movements of these tiny underdeveloped wings.
She goes back over and she puts her hand out to the little bird and says, I can put you back in the nest.
Go ahead and roll me an animal handling. As you're doing this, I assume Gerard is with you. You hear a provincial growl from Gerard.
She just looks over and gives Gerard a look and just shakes her head. And she I rolled a 18.
18. Okay. With an 18, it moves closer to your hand and like kind of like looks down at it and then just looks back up at you. Doesn't go into your hand.
She like moves it a little closer and kind of like taps the end of her fingers on its little feet. And points up at the nest with her other hand.
Okay. Where are you tapping?
Like it on its feet. Like kind of when she holds her hand out, she gets it like a little bit closer so it kind of touches the bird.
Okay, so you're tapping on its feet. Okay, got it. Cool. Yeah, you see it immediately kind of pull back. It doesn't seem to be like fully understanding what you're saying, I'd say, even with an 18. It's not moving away, it's not moving forward.
She reaches out her other hand and like kind of makes a movement to grab it.
Okay.
And sees if it runs away or not.
I'd say you see it instinctively kind of like backing away from those hands, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is a baby bird. There's no way that rogue Seren couldn't catch this thing before.
Yeah,
she's just, your call.
She's gonna reach out and she's gonna grab it very, very softly and just sit it back in the nest.
Okay, you got it. I need a Constitution saving throw.
Oh God. I knew this was a trap. 11.
Okay. From the perspective of the camera, we see as the sun is just about setting over the water here, we see Seren immediately just collapse on the ground. Seren, you are unconscious.
Okay.
Roll me a d20.
10.
10. Okay. Okay. You awaken the feeling of like this horrible sort of pain in your head. You feel it kind of like throbbing as you're like just starting to kind of get your bearings as you see the ground around you moving. As you feel that you're being dragged.
Can she see anything yet?
It's I'll say you obviously even with your dark vision you see that it is pitch black out as far as like it feels like it's like midnight most likely. You've probably been out for hours. And you I'll say if you turn your head, it's going to be noticeable that you're awake. So if you're trying to see what is dragging you, and that's what I assume you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will say if you're wanting to turn your head, it'd be a straight roll. But if you are trying to do so in the space of trying to be seemingly like you're in your same sort of space, in your same like state, I'd say it's with disadvantage.
How? What am I rolling?
It would be perception. So it's either with disadvantage if you're trying to keep yourself in that same position to keep yourself from looking like you're awake.
Yeah, she would definitely do it stealthily and try not to alert the person.
You got disadvantage.
Does it really not matter because I have my little reliable talent thing?
Mm-hmm.
So I rolled a 6, but that means I got a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay, cool. With a dirty 20, you hear, I think in this perception, you're kind of just relying on your ears more than anything.
Yeah.
So you hear the sound of heavy boots as you feel a like a thump, thump, and then you feel yourself being dragged. Thump, thump, drag. You hear whispers as it sounds like there are two figures behind you. You hear them saying something that at first doesn't sound sounds like complete gibberish. Not in a way of like a different language per se. I'd say it sounds like common, but they're words that don't really seem to make sense together. And for a second, I think you're wondering if you're just like, if there's like, if you have like brain damage or something's, where they're having to kind of like reset to where also your camera's crazy out of focus. That's really
okay.
Right now.
Hey, it fits.
It fits. It's perfect. Yes. It takes a second till you actually realize that this is you start to piece certain like code words together as you recognize that even though this is going to be a slightly different dialect than what you're used to, these people are speaking in thieves' cant to each other. In the rough translation, you hear You hear the phrase, some interesting weapons on this one. And then in response, I wonder if she can use them. As you continue to listen, you hear may be good for she may be good for the pits. And then you hear and then you hear the phrase, we'll let Sahib decide.
Okay.
As you feel yourself being kind of like lifted from under the arms, you can feel your body being thrown into a cage. And I'll say, I assume you're still trying to kind of just like play dead.
Yeah.
Okay. So you feel your body being kind of like thrown into a cage, and then you, even in like the eye, like your the eyelids, in your dark vision, it's like even closing your eyelids, you still see some light until you hear the sound of something as if a cloth is being draped over something, and you can see the light in your eyelids go black.
The second that happens, she opens her eyes.
Yep. You see that you are in a crate that is not much bigger than your body. It looks to be wooden along the sides here. That looks to be like reinforced with with some sort of like each four corners seem to be like bound in some sort of like bone like structure. I'll say, because you're probably investigating through this, go ahead and give me an investigation check.
It'd be 19.
19. Okay. Yeah, with the 19, you notice that those the bones don't look very beast-like. They look human, as they're connected along each side. A wooden crate, a wooden cage is not something I think that you would feel would easily keep you from here. So I will say, with that investigation check, you notice that, but you also kind of get the feeling that like they would probably know that, right? Like if they're, well, I don't know. I guess you really don't know. I would say, yeah, I'd say with the investigation check here on this, you feeling the wood itself, and you can feel it's very spry wood, but you imagine that there's a possibility, given the right time, that you might be able to try to break from it from your current perspective. But I would also like an Arcana check.
Okay. A nat 20.
Okay, cool. The nat 20, you start to kind of pull a little bit on it, and you, as soon as you do so, let me actually pull something up real quick.
I'm trying to fix my camera, but it's not happening.
Yeah, go ahead and do that while we're. You got time. I got to look something up.
I have autofocus off. It just chooses to ignore that sometimes.
Maybe try to put it back on or something. Okay. I have a piece that looks like it might be missing in your timeline of your backstory. between being on the ship and making your journey where it is now? Is that because it just docked where it was supposed to dock and you just said your goodbyes?
Yeah, I'd say so. Okay. She was only on the ship for like 2 months, so wherever it makes sense from where it sailed in Valinar to somewhere she got off the ship, they went their separate ways, and she made her way to where she met the Mongoose Crew.
Okay, cool, awesome. I need a wisdom saving throw.
Seven.
Okay. So I'll give you advantage because of the nat 20. Actually, I got to reward the nat 20.
These new dice are not a fan of me. 21, a little better.
That's a big difference, yeah. With a 21. With a 21. Seren, an image flashes in your mind of two bodies lying dead on the cold dungeon-like floor. Both of them blue-skinned, both of them, one of them wide-eyed, the other one probably closed her eyes. You recognize this image as being one of them was Eldryn, and then the other one wasn't Volmos, right?
Kanos?
Kanos, yeah. From the moment that you found them, and you take you take 12 points of damage, halved to 6 psychic damage.
Okay.
It's at this moment you hear a slight whimper as you hear the cart start to kind of and kind of move on its own. You hear it, I'll say to the right of you from your current position.
She whispers, Gerard, is that you?
You hear that sound from Gerard, and it doesn't sound quite right. I would say you know Gerard well enough to know that Gerard most likely has been in some way gagged by the mouth.
Does she still have her weapons on her?
No.
Like she's gonna check. Okay.
No, of course not.
She's gonna kind of look around, and not that she can probably see much, but to see if there's anything through the bars, like a stick or something, that she can like reach through the cage and grab.
I would say you don't see anything right now because you have essentially what is like a very dark, heavy black cloth that has been put over this whole cage.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what blocked the light. But if you wanted to try to reach through and kind of like feel along the cart, you could.
Yeah, she's gonna do that, being very careful not to touch the actual cage that she's in.
Okay. I will say touching it didn't seem to do anything. It was the idea of trying to break it, just for future reference. Yeah.
Cool. She's still a little wary of like getting against it, but
yeah. I'll say as you are feeling around, you don't feel anything until you feel a portion of what looks like you can like kind of wrap your hand around something that feels cylindrical and wooden, but it seems like it's stuck tight to something.
can she reach out and kind of lift the cloth up just a little bit to kind of like peek out underneath?
With the rungs of how this would be, I'd say you can probably see out maybe 2 inches. I say whatever you see. It looks like it's it looks like some sort of like, you see like a wooden rod. You cannot see where it's attached though from that. It sits there.
I guess she would just sit there and kind of wait to like listen around her to kind of try to figure out what's going on outside of where she's at.
Okay, cool. You you sit there, I think, as you're trying to listen to everything. Most of what you can just hear is the oh, that's right, it's because of the nighttime forest. But I'd say you can just hear the sounds of the forest. Imagine this is nighttime sounds, so probably more crickets than anything. You've been out for a bit, but I don't think we would consider that to be really a rest here. So I'd say in about maybe like 3 or 4 hours of doing this, you start to feel your eyes kind of get a little heavy again. But it's your choice if you want to try to stay attentive during this time or to take your long rest here, or try to take your long rest here.
Does she? Well, I guess she would still have to kind of rest, but she's at the point where she doesn't need to sleep. I mean, she also doesn't sleep, but like she hasn't taken any souls in 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So does she still need to long rest?
Was that did I forget that?
Isn't that a thing? That she has disadvantage on dexterity, but she doesn't actually need to like.
Yeah, I remember
sit
that.
down
You don't
and
need to
rest.
sleep.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I totally forgot that I had that.
I was confused.
Yeah. At this point, you look down at your hands and you can see the like sort of like moving your hand around. It's, you know, if you didn't know already what this would be, you would assume that you've been under like some sort of like you're in some sort of like trippy sort of dream. But yeah, you move your hand around, you can see that it's following you, like almost like maybe like like half a second behind, as you see that you are now most likely in this more ethereal form than anything. So yeah, I think as you're sitting there kind of waiting and listening, you don't hear very much. You hear the occasional sort of like far off laughter. But eventually you hear the cart kind of come to a halt. You hear a voice come out and just say, not, this isn't common, just goes, all right, we'll set up camp here. You want to see if our friends are awake? Yeah, I can do that. Actually, no, this is what you hear. You hear, yeah, all right, I can do that. That's fine. And then you hear another voice perk up. Go ahead, give me a history check.
11.
11. You hear a separate voice that goes, no, I got it. You guys can go ahead. And you hear footsteps approaching the cart. You like fully expect like this entire this tart to be just like pulled off of you like quickly. But you see instead it's lifted slightly, and you see looking out at you is the face of someone you fully don't recognize. Looks to be like a grizzled human face, like big beard, bushy eyebrows, like brown eyes, and like a nose you can tell is broken in several places, and just like kind of looks up at you. Yeah, she's awake.
And
what was your history check?
11.
11. Okay,
yeah. In Thieves' Cant, she just looks at him and says, "I'm not sure if we're friends yet. We'll see."
You see him lift the crate up. You lift the tarp up again. Let's go. Shakes his head, puts it back down. Yeah, she's awake. Do you want me to check and see on the other beast in here? You hear that voice go, "Yeah, all right, that's fine. Just probably only have food for one of them tonight." Yeah, but might as well know whether or not we killed this thing or not, right? And you hear him walk to the other, walk around your crate. You hear the lifting. You hear the snarl of a bounded creature. Okay, definitely awake. Closes it. You feel the creaking sounds of feet as the figure jumps off the cart. As he does so, you see something slide under the cart, or sorry, slide into your crate. It's a small. I'm trying to think of what it could be. I think you see it as a small metallic coin. Slightly bigger than a coin. You kind of like feel it around in the absence of the light that you have here. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. You feel the coin in your fingertips and can make out the feeling of what feels like a human shape with something around it, like kind of like on the like, so the foreground is a human. The background of it that still seems to be kind of like embossed out feels like a kind of like a wavy, jagged form of some sort of emblem behind this form. I'm trying to think out how else to kind of explain this to you, because you're still in the darkness of this.
Is she able to lift the thing up and like see in the moonlight just a little bit better?
Yeah, you got it. As you kind of like lift the
tarp.
You lift the tarp up slightly and kind of just like look past it. You see it's a gleaming emblem that has a depiction of a man that's kind of like out like this, seeming like maybe like kind of like spread out limb wise, and you see there's an emblem of fire behind him.
I'm assuming she doesn't recognize that at all. Oh. Thanks, Lorianne. Does the other side of the coin have anything on it either?
You look at the other side of the coin, and I think you see marked out in this like not nearly as embossed as the other piece. You see actually, I'll say this, on the other side of it, it actually looks like an Eisenheim coin. So you see a thing that says the king in his courts. But I will say, you see the king in his courts, and it's a depiction of King Eisenheim. You notice that in the moonlight of this, the version of the king here is a slightly caricatured, but only slightly, only to Seren's eyes. You see that the nose is like a little bit too long. The ears are like in like mismatched sort of way. The king looks a little uglier here in this version of this, but it's as a like something that's passing by, you would not notice this at all. It's just at the time that you have on this.
So it's the Flynn Rider wanted poster of coins.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's very slight, but it seems like whoever made this couldn't help but give a slight jab. Let's say you. I'm gonna actually pause you there because I think that's a good place to kind of pause as you hear them setting up camp. So we'll pull out from that scene, and so you see a campfire just being lit. Yeah. Okay. So before we go back to Wilbur, we're gonna go to Eldryn real quick.
I'm gonna say like probably we all left Zaris's office, if that's okay. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna grab Gwar and Noros and go to. I'm assuming there's like a chapel within the castle, like for Persona. It's not like the temple, but a smaller thing. Or...
Yeah, I think so. There's probably like a small prayer chapel.
Yeah, something like that. Okay. Now you can tell me if I'm asking for too much in this, but since I'm in a castle and we have lots of money, can there be a reliquary? I can't say it. Can there be an item that's worth at least 500 gold pieces in this chapel?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So Eldryn is gonna.
I think you see it's probably like some sort of like candelabra that seems to be in a depiction of.
So Eldryn just walks in and just takes that off of like the altar and grabs it, places it down in front of her like it's nothing, and then says, "I don't."
Who's with you in this scene? Did you just storm out of the?
Gwar and Noros. I would grab Gwar, and then and then Eldryn looks at Gwar and she's like, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try something. And if it works, we might be able to talk to Wilbur. Now that we know he's alive.
Wait, he's alive? Did we hear the voice? Was that ever clear?
Yes, we did, because Zaris reacted to it. So yes, you did hear that.
Okay. Well, yeah, that would be great. We've got to get everyone back together.
Yeah. I mean,
well, what are you waiting for?
Okay, so Eldryn, and I feel like
I'm going to pray to Bahamut so your Bahamut can help you do this.
Okay, Gwar, I don't, whatever. Eldryn is going to try, because she knows that Wilbur is a Celestial, she's going to try and summon Wilbur's spirit with Summon Celestial, so she can talk to him. So I don't know if you want to read that. It's a 5th level spell.
Yeah, pull it up.
Is it working?
Keep praying, Gwar. The god is reading it.
Good lord.
I will say, like, I think rules is written, the answer would be no, because I think the idea
The only
that this
reason
thing
I
has...
thought of it is because you've sometimes like you let vendors
Oh,
talk
yeah.
in the commune, or
I'm
you
going to let
let
you roll
like.
for it. I'm
Oh,
just
okay,
gonna say,
cool.
I'm going to say for you and for anyone watching on this channel, I do not believe Summon Celestial would work
No.
in this case. Strictly because there's a stat block that's already associated with it.
Yeah.
But we did do this with
Kanos.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, I think I'm gonna say because this is strictly on the idea of I'll let you use your skill set in this, and the idea that I'll say, okay, it is a religion check.
Okay.
It's got to be tricky though, so give me 1 second on here.
Okay. Can I guide myself?
Cool. Yes, you can guide yourself. I'm going to say it is a religion check, DC 20.
Damn.
I'm gonna use my my inspiration because I rolled a 2.
You got it?
I'm gonna do a different dice.
So say, hang on, I'm not praying yet. Okay, good.
Okay. I rolled a nat 1.
Okay, you got that.
Damn.
With a nat 1, you do see the...
Hang on, can I give her my inspiration?
You can.
Where's your inspiration from?
The Lord. I got it from a while ago. It was my speech. Was it my speech?
And it was the same day in game, so...
It was my speech at the Grove, yeah.
Oh, it
Your
was
speech at the Grove?
Yeah.
Never mind.
It's been a day.
Yeah.
Since that.
Oh. Okay, fine.
I'll give you this, but this is definitively it, because you are, like Gwar said, like, I'm also praying. So if this does work on this end, it's thanks to Gwar.
Okay.
But yes, I'll give you advantage.
Right.
Gonna float his ego.
12. Advantage doesn't mean that I can then use my inspiration or something.
No. No,
Oh.
I appreciate it, but...
Oh, hey,
so cool.
you got 10 more points than you did without my praying.
I will say, with the advantage on that not being a nat 1, the candelabra that you see that has, and I will say it's probably your least favorite thing in this prayer chapel, because I'm like, because you're like looking at like, what does that have to do with Persona? Like, that's just...
And also, why is it underwater? That doesn't make any sense.
Right. It's like it's something that most likely was like seen on the surface and at some point in time was like, well, people look at this as royalty or like an important sort of symbol of something.
Yeah.
So we can it's the clash of religions and cultures from different places mixing in the stupidest like spaces.
They just like set little glowfish on it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't consume it usually in the spell, but can it consume this? Because I failed so poorly.
Well, it's up to you. I was gonna say with a nat 1, it was gonna consume it.
I think it'd be hilarious if it's still like it. Maybe it like broke a little.
You got it. Yeah, absolutely. You see actually like from the side where I will say here's what I'll say happens, because the only thing is there's just an emblem of Persona on here in the center. I think also like there's a possibility that this was actually just put on another candelabra, like as an emblem of it, and then therefore it's like it's in the chapel, it's good to go. You see all of the like the arms of both sides of this thing break apart, leaving just like the spoke of like what now looks like a single candlestick, but with Persona on it, with the emblem of Persona on it.
And because I was trying to summon Wilbur, it doesn't even work in that I summoned a celestial, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I see it break, and I just say, that wasn't supposed to happen. That was really expensive. Please don't tell
you
anyone.
Probably weren't praying hard enough.
Excuse me?
I said you
All right,
probably
guys.
weren't praying hard enough.
Guys, okay, so this is a very stressful time for everyone, so let's just...
No, I don't pray hard enough, Noros. I don't pray to my god hard enough.
Let's...
Nope, it's my fault. It's my fault that I can't save my friends because I don't pray hard enough. And Eldryn just walks out of the house.
You see Noros, it's just like, Noros once again just looks at Gwar like, dude.
Well, she wasn't.
And he just follows her out. Gwar.
And then as I walk... Oh, okay, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to say... Roll, okay. As they walk out, I would just kind of say something like, quietly to Bahamut, like, I know you're okay with other gods, but, like, you're my favorite, and I know that was too far, but, like, she's really been getting on my nerves lately, and I just want her to take me seriously. Religion tech. Sweet. That's a 24.
24. Okay. With a 24, you're explaining this, and then you start to hear like this, and it immediately cut off, and you see it from it's from this. You see this podium that is this very small podium that's up here that has like this depiction of a. Do you we never really talked about this, Eldryn? Do you think Persona is like depicted as any sort of like animalistic or?
I talked about that. That after Eldryn saw Persona, she realized that all of our depictions of him are not great, and so right. I think it's more Triton-like and more like beautiful, like the perfect looking Triton male, which isn't what she saw on the beach. Not that he wasn't good looking
from the
or
Black
whatever.
Lagoon.
It was
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, you see a
not that he was ugly. I'm just saying it like that.
Oh no, he
perfect,
was
like David esque thing that you would like.
It truly is like that. It looks like a very like sculpture of David sort of version of this Triton that is cleverly made so that the person that's at the podium it is not blocking the view of the congregation, but it would be if they were to come right up to the altar, they would have to be looking up at it to even look at the preacher preaching.
It's completely nude too. Doesn't have anything.
Completely nude.
Yeah. Okay.
All the stuff. In holy reverence of Persona.
We love every part of him.
Jesus.
Oh boy.
This is supposed to be a short scene, but oh well.
I know, I'm sorry.
So, Gwar, you hear this. And you look up at the figure that's there, and there's a space where you're like, no. So you're like looking at the Persona.
Get the fuck out of here.
There's a Gwar.
Yeah. Yes, that's me.
Gwar.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Gwar. Oh.
Yeah.
I don't have much time.
Okay. Who is this?
You recognize the voice now at this point. Sounds like Celeste.
Okay.
You hear it's going in and out. It's warbled. It's like it's staticky. It's all these things. You hear Gwar, Broomhilda's. She's stuck.
She's stuck.
In between. Good.
In between what? Where are you?
Find.
Immediately, your tears welling up. Like, I haven't heard Celeste in weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you go? Come back! What? So it was Brunhilde stuck in between find.
Yep. You heard
Okay.
good and then find.
Good find.
She's a
Okay.
good
Remember,
one.
those aren't necessarily linked, right? So
She is a good find. Okay. I think Gwar makes a couple more attempts to he's just yelling into nothing. You know, just like, what? But I will find you! I just need more information! After a second, I think he would probably drop down again and start praying to Bahamut and just ask for guidance. Help me find the clues. Help me find. I'll do it. I'll just roleplay it. I know I was just mean to Eldryn, but like, will you please help me understand and decode that message? I must find. They're both so important to me. I must find them. They're so important to this mission. Just guide me. And then just like would sit in silence for a minute. Not necessarily listening for anything, but just being present with Bahamut.
yeah, I think in this scene, and I think we kind of trail off your voice from this this scene.
Yeah.
As we're kind of pulling out from the upper sort of corner of the ceiling as the camera's kind of moving past on that, and we see over the entire sort of small chapel area the shadow of a dragon wing pass over it.
It's my boy.
Now we're going to switch to Wilbur.
I tried to reach out to you. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Wilbur, you are in the office. You see that the priest of Persona is scuttled around behind you. Zaris is Cerilius is there, but seemingly difficult to hear or communicate in this. Seems
When
like he
does
can hear
Wilbur-
you. Just doesn't seem like you can hear. You can hear him very well. Like everything of important note that you would hear would have to be a check.
When does Wilbur hear the is Wilbur alive from Persona? Or
I'd say in this moment. So
Okay.
in this moment, as you hear that, you hear like you hear Zaris is you see Zaris is talking, and you lose what he's saying as you hear is Wilbur still alive?
Did you?
So does that sound like a possibility, Wilbur?
I'm sorry, I didn't. What?
Is there any way for you to be able to contact someone from another time, from your time, to be able to be in contact with? I know that's a tall order to ask, but that is the only thing I can think of right now that would help.
I have an idea.
Okay. Ideas are good. We can build off of ideas.
So I think Wilbur is going to pause for a minute and like wipe away a little tear, because hearing Eldryn ask, "Is Wilbur alive?" like just reminded him that, oh, she does care. Like she hasn't forgotten about me.
You see, to ruin the scene, you see Cerilius like kind of ducking his giant globe head into the scene, looking like directly where you're like wiping under your eye, like just being like kind of But he's like in your face.
Can I help you?
Oh,
Huh?
no.
No? Okay, great. Just stand there and listen. So, I have this ability that I can see through the eyes of others, and I think I can talk to my mom.
Huh?
Shh. And if I can communicate with her, I think I can figure out a way to get her and maybe Eldryn to where I need them to be.
Remember, there's a Queen Eldryn right now.
You see Zaris like very confused in the because I think we did talk about this before, but like
Yeah.
Okay, so where
So
does
you
the
need the
queen come
queen.
into play here?
Where does what?
Where does the queen come into play here? I'm confused.
The queen. No, no.
Okay. Right.
There's.
So
Yeah.
you do not need me to talk to the queen. Okay.
No, please don't. I don't want to weirdly change history any more than I already am.
Okay. Yes, that actually brings up a very good point. If you could be very careful in assuming that you are from the future, I don't even want to begin to go down the rabbit hole of do they still use that term, rabbit hole? That's something I learned on land. That like
Yeah.
there's rabbits. Okay. So I would rather not go down that understanding and complexity of time and the idea that if you can travel through it. If there's anything that you think I may need to know about the future, please, if it does not involve the process of getting you back, please hesitate to tell me. As in, do not.
I won't tell you anything.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, so you have an ability that you can contact someone. Do you need us to give you the room to try that?
Nope, just you can stay here. I just might look a little weird for a minute.
I can understand weird, and he just points to the. Actually, you hear Sterling. Oh.
What?
And it just like pushes on the plastic film of his like. Oh.
Those get better with time. I will say that.
You see Zaris immediately just put his ears. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Well,
literally nothing. How do they get better? Do not tell me.
I'm not telling you. I'm just telling you they will. I'm not going to tell you how. You can just figure it out by yourself someday.
Does that mean that I'm the one that figures that out?
I don't know.
Okay, great. Continue to not know that.
Okay, alright. Wilbur's going to go sit down against a wall. And he is going to say aloud, I wish to see through Wynona's eyes.
We feel that echo kind of happen. You see the other people in the room seem to slow down in their movements. This is a little different than what you've experienced before, Wilbur. As your eyes are glazing over to the white, you can see time start to slow down. I need you to roll me a... 1 second here. This will be the first time I'm implementing this in game. I need you to roll me a D100.
Mm, 84.
Okay. You have 8 minutes and 40 seconds.
Oh, okay. Jeez.
Starting now. You look around, you can see a cabin that you can see on the ground. There looks to be 6 people who are laying down in an awkward formation. You can see they're kind of like in like a circular sort of shape. Looking around, you see that you see an interesting looking satyr that is sitting behind this counter. This all kind of looks oddly familiar in a way. You hear a voice that's kind of warbled out that just says, you can hear the term mirror. You see the satyr kind of like clop over to the side. Almost kind of looks like Riley. Like you see like a younger red-headed satyr kind of grabs a handheld ornate mirror and hands it over to you as you take a paw that is not your own. As you look into it and you see Winona's face. Wilbur?
Can you hear
7
me?
minutes, 25 seconds.
Stop it. You're making me nervous. Can you
Just
hear
letting you
me?
know. Yeah. Where are you?
This is really important because I don't know how much time I have. I am in Enoria, but
Okay.
I am in the past.
What?
I know it doesn't make any sense, and I don't know how to explain it, but I need you to contact Eldryn, my friend Eldryn.
Okay. All right. What do you want me to say to her?
I need you to tell her that you and her need to get to Enoria if she's not already there, and I need her to be in the temple office.
Okay. Temple. Wilbur, I'm just gonna let you know right now. I am not. I don't know where I am. I'm in a place that has a lot of like this like blonde like tiny rocks around. I see there's water everywhere. I could try to contact Eldryn, but I was waiting to find out if I heard anything from you. So I'll do that.
The only way we're going to be reunited is if you get a hold of Eldryn.
Okay, honey, that is a lot of pressure to put on an old woman, just so you know. Yeah, I will do that. Okay. So at in Enoria, you said an office.
You need to tell Eldryn you all need to get to Enoria to the temple.
Temple.
The office in the temple.
Office in the temple. What does this office look like?
She will know.
Okay. All right. Office in the temple office. Okay. Then what?
You need to wait there.
Okay.
Don't leave. I need you to be in that exact spot so I can get back to you.
It might take some time to get her to be able to get to me and for me to get to her. I'll contact her. We'll figure it out from there. Is there a time that you need me to get there by before we have to figure out a different plan?
No, just as soon as possible.
Okay. When I get there, do I contact you or do you contact me?
You can contact me.
How?
Just see through my eyes. You can talk to me that way.
That's not. I'm sorry, honey. That's not exactly how it works for me. We're two different wombats. We have a slightly different. I'll ask Eldryn, see if there's a way for Eldryn to figure out a way for me to contact you. Could you do this again? Could whatever this? I assume this is your part of it.
Yes, I can do it at least one more time.
Okay. Are you safe?
I'm safe.
Okay. Listen, I know that this.
So repeat back to me what you're going to do.
We're gonna go to. I'm gonna contact Eldryn. Eldryn's gonna come get me, and we're gonna go to the temple, and we're gonna go to the office of the temple, and wait for you to contact me.
And the office in the temple is located where?
In the underwater,
Enoria.
Enoria.
Okay.
Okay. Are you okay? I know this seems weird to say, but sometimes I when I'm really nervous, sometimes I think of all the things that Cerilius has done to kind of bring us to this moment, and the thing. I know you feel kind of weird about him, but without him, we wouldn't be able to converse in this way. So, just think about in a space maybe like he's looking down on you and or around wherever he is. I guess I don't know. But like he's around, and worst case scenario, we can always assume that he's gonna come get come get us.
Yeah, I have bad news. He has no help right now.
Fine. Gotta believe in something there, but I understand. Okay. So listen. So there's actually some. Did you there that voice? Did you hear that voice?
Yes, I heard that voice.
It went. You know that it went everywhere. Wherever I'm at right now, there's a bunch of people that I'm apparently a very popular wombat.
No, I didn't know it went everywhere.
Yeah. So there's I guess there's some people that are looking for me. Hopefully, to kind of ask me questions. And,
you need to make sure that you tell Eldryn to keep you safe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and honestly, this group is they're kind of working on something on themselves right now. But I think, they seem pretty powerful too. They might be able to kind of help kind of guide me along the way for a little bit at least. But yeah, I'll make sure that I stay safe. They put a sack over my head on the way over here, so I wasn't really into that. But I think it was for good, because there's gonna be some crazy people out there that are gonna hear that voice and are gonna say, oh, this person might be. You know how sometimes they confuse us and think that we're alike or that we're the same. So. Anyways, is there anything else you wanted to tell me before we go?
No, I think that's it. Just remember what you need to tell Eldryn. Thank God I rolled half decent. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. You come to, and you see Zaris is over you with like a small vial that he's shaking up right now, and like as you awaken. Oh, okay. Good. You can have this if you want, but it just looks like you're awake. Are you okay?
Wilbur throws up.
How much poop? Roll for poop.
Throw up. The throw up just goes up. Oh, okay. All right. Wow. Okay. Warn a guy. You see Cerilius even like backs up and the back of his head kind of hits the wall. Yeah. Wilbur, anything else?
Wilbur's just at a loss for words, so he doesn't really know what to say because he has confirmation that there are all sorts of people looking for him.
Mm-hmm.
The safest place for you 150 years in the past.
Well, yeah, and all of the other wombats that are safe are in grave danger.
So you have that part of your plan set in motion. There's still the factor of the... So you said the office is bigger than 10 feet.
Well, I think that I can, if I have to, if I have to look through her eyes again, I can tell her exactly where to stand. So I'm not too worried about that.
Okay. The concept here, when I say 10 feet, like I think in the way that I'm describing it, maybe it's better to just say 5 feet. Like it has to be in that sort of vein of that square there. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that is that's not a lot of room. That might be difficult to explain, but it's full on you, whatever you want to do there.
Not if there's a loose floor tile.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pushed back now.
Yeah.
It's your scene. What are you doing?
Well... so that, what do you mean it's been pushed back?
You both pushed it back to its original spot.
The cabinet, you mean, or whatever?
Yeah, because he was going to leave it where it was for someone to come in and fix it, but then you said it should probably be fine, so then he pushed it back in. He pushed the cabinet back in.
You could just wait for Eldryn to message you once she gets the message from Winona, because she'll ask, what the hell do you mean? Why am I standing in an office?
But that message
is going to be tricky
to
do
through.
That. It might not get through.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. Okay.
Yeah. No, so Wilbur would say we have to move this cabinet so this floor tile stays exposed.
You see Zaris is kind of looking at you like, what? You haven't explained this part to him at all.
No, I know it sounds crazy, but do you have,
I mean, we can mess with whatever we want in this room. I'm just saying I just need to have an explanation of, I don't care.
No, do you have, like paper? I need something to write.
Yeah, we have Yeah, we have paper. And he just gives you kind of like paper and a quill.
So Wilbur, I can't do W's. Wilbur will write on the paper in like big letters, Eldryn, and then just underneath of it, stand right here, do not move.
Okay. You want Eldryn to stand there? Again, Eldryn is probably not going to be your contact.
Okay. Eldryn and friends, stand right here and do not move.
Okay.
Eldryn,
I hate to mention this to you, but again, this is a very small sort of area. I would say you can only fit one person here.
Eldryn and Winona, stand right here and do not move. Or Winona, stand here and do not move.
Which one?
Winona, stand here and do not move. Oh my fucking god.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to give you the parameters here on this. Okay, so you're right. Winona, stand here, do not move. Cool.
And for the next 150 years, Zaris has to make sure this note is not moved.
This is the reason why like everything has to be so exact, because it's going to be 150 years of this note having to stay in this position and having to be as clear as possible in what is supposed to be happening. So it's very important. If it's even off by a little bit, it could be in the idea of the story, Wilbur never coming back. Right? Like Wilbur, you know, like in what Winona said, and like the idea of like, oh, if this doesn't work, we'll try to find, we'll figure out something else. It's going to be okay. You know, that's most likely not true. This is it. Mm-hmm. This is most likely going to be the only way.
Right.
It's your best bet, we'll say at least. Okay, so you write, Winona, stand here, do not move.
Right. And then I'll explain to Zaris, there is a loose floor tile right here that we need to put this note under.
Okay. I mean, I think if all three of us were to, and you say all three of you, it's tricky, but you're able to do it. You kind of move that, and you see the floor tile kind of like shift a little bit and open.
I just assume Cerilius is like no help at this point.
No, he's helping. He doesn't understand his strength, but he's using muscles that he's probably never really had to really use before, at least not in this way. But yeah, so they pull that, and you see the tiles kind of like shaking a little bit.
So Wilbur will kind of like lift up the tile and like just kind of look under there to make sure that it's not like a 10-foot drop or whatever. Like make sure that it's actually going to stay like right underneath of it.
You got it. Okay. When you're lifting this tile, are you like lifting it to like see, or you said you were landing like looking down, or are you feeling or are you looking?
Looking.
Okay, cool. You're looking, you notice there's there's something like shiny under here.
Well, first question, is it not a huge drop? Like, whatever's there is just like right underneath the tile, right?
There's like dirt, sort of like a concrete dirt sort of texture underneath this. No, it is not a 10-foot drop.
Okay. So I just see that it's shiny. That's all I know. It's just something shiny.
Well, you're just looking. Are you doing anything with it? You gotta like. As a DM, I tell you, you notice something. This is what you notice. You tell me if you interact with it.
I'm going to very cautiously
kind of just like brush off the dirt around it.
Yeah.
Okay. You see it looks to be a It looks to be like a very dark gold. It looks kind of like I guess it looks like a coin, but as you start to kind of dust it off, you actually see that it's not a full circle. It's actually more of a design around like you see there's a pointed edge, and it looks somewhat like similar to how you would like picture maybe like a glaive. Like, so there's a point here, and then there's like a crescent sort of mark underneath. So it looks like there's just 3 points on there. You see it is doesn't have any markings on it whatsoever, besides like a border, like a border in the inside of this piece of metal. And it's like this dark, kind of almost like a bronzish, but it's gold.
I would show it to Zaris.
So you pick it up?
Yes.
Okay. You go to pick this up.
Oh my god.
And nothing happens.
Oh, Jesus.
You put it in the palm of your hand, you show it to Zaris, and Zaris kind of looks at it. Okay, so what does that mean?
I don't know. It was down here.
You don't know what that is, but you knew that there was a loose tile?
Yeah, I only knew about the loose tile because Father Carvis, is that his name? I already forgot.
Vernus.
It's okay. It totally makes
Jesus,
sense.
yeah. Yeah, so he asked me to help him move this, and that's how I discovered the loose tile, but this was just sitting under there. I don't know what this is.
Okay. I mean, if you want to leave it on my desk, I can study it to see if it relates to anything. Or I could just use it by memory. I could just... I don't know what that is off the top of my head.
Okay. I don't know if I should just not put it back.
Do you want me to get Vernus in here and see if he knows what it is?
No.
Good, because I'd rather research it myself than having to claim that this guy knows anything that I don't. So, okay. Yeah, if you want to leave it on my desk, it's going to be easier for me to kind of research what the heck this thing is.
Very cautiously setting this, or very nervously putting this on his desk.
Okay, cool. You can feel there's a definite weight to this. It feels heavy. As you set it down, it makes that like as it's being put on there. Okay, all right. So do we leave this cabinet like this? I think I'm picking up what you're getting at, but it's the idea like we're moving. This has to stay the way it is for 150 years, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so we need to move the cabinet back, and he goes to like kind of move it back if you're, but it's you're gonna need all three of you.
Oh. I'll help.
Okay, so you push it back. It goes back into place, and he goes, all right. So kind of sits back at his desk. Goes, do I tell Vernus to specifically not touch the cabinet? Or do I not mention it at all? What would be the more likely scenario that this does not get moved? I have an idea. This would be tricky. This would take a portion of my Wilbur, can I ask you something?
Yeah?
You're asking a lot from the High Mage of Enoria. I feel like you know that.
Yep.
And you seem like a relatively decent creature.
Some would say.
You've explained everything but the why. What are we in danger of here?
You told me you didn't want to know anything.
I did, but your answer will determine whether or not I ensure that this thing doesn't move for 150 years. And I find you interesting. I wouldn't necessarily call you a friend, but this would be a lot of work to do for one being, as I have a very important job ahead of me. So I need to know why I'm working so hard to send you back.
Because there's an evil presence that I need to help kill. And he is a danger to everyone, every kingdom, every land.
Forgive me for saying Wilbur, but you do not seem to be when you say a danger, are we talking about a possible god here or a demigod?
Well, I'm still learning a lot about the idea of gods and demigods, but I would certainly say that this being sees himself as a god, but does not have any good intentions.
So it sounds like you're telling me that this thing is a danger, but possibly not at the god level. I apologize. You seem like a very interesting creature, but in the face of the entire known world, why do they need you?
It was... Okay. I think...
This is the point where the DM's giving you a make a badass statement on a silver platter moment.
Yeah. So I think that as he's looking at Zaris, his eyes would flash that very, like, lightning blue very quickly as he says, I'm a primordial, and I was specifically tasked to help handle this problem.
Okay. You see him go over to the cabinet, tap it. You see this purple sort of energy kind of flow all around it, and then kind of dissipate into the ground. I guess now we wait. And pull away from that scene. I think we're going to end tonight on Seren. Seren, you are... Again, imagine these are night forest sounds. I had to fix a bunch of things on this. So. I'd say about a full hour has gone by since you've been given this coin. Is there anything you're doing within that hour, we'll say?
I think she's just flipping it around in her hands and just keeps on listening to see if she can hear any chatter in the background. You know, occasionally like looking at her hand separating from her physical form.
Okay.
And,
you hear you actually feel a shift in the cart as a figure, as the sound of footsteps kind of come back into it. All right, food. Who wants it? You can't see. You can just see, maybe like if you look up, you see like the feet on the ground there, but yeah.
you give half to me and half to Gerard.
All right. You hear a plop. That sounds like a gooey sort of like gross substance. You feel like you can almost hear the flies like as they're coming in through the crate as well. Is he going to be able to eat with that thing around his mouth?
I would assume not. And if any of you hurt him, you won't be able to eat either.
That's a way to convince your captors. You see him kind of like lift the sheet off a little bit and kind of go underneath it and just pushes a plate of that same sort of substance. It looks like they're like, it's like leftover entrails of the of whatever a wild animal that they killed, most likely like a deer or something.
I still have that spell, right? Can she produce flame and like
You absolutely can.
Cook it a little bit?
Do you want to do that with this person right in front of you though?
No.
Okay. Yeah, you got it.
No, she's gonna wait a second.
Pushes it to you, and you see like for a second he's just kind of like looking at you just through the crates. Seen better days, huh?
Is this the same person that gave me the coin?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And now I'm seeing the inside of a cage. Care to tell me why?
Enjoy, Seren. You see him drop the tarp. You hear steps walk away. I'd like an investigation check.
27. Jeez.
Okay. With a 27, two things. One, you must look a little crazy right now, unless you were purposely trying to stay completely still. Which is up to you. Are you looking completely still in this? Because you know that any movement you're gonna look, they're gonna see the etherealness. Like it trails from you.
No, I think she's trying to look a little intimidating here, even though she's not typically. So yeah, she's moving a little bit.
Okay, cool. How are you doing? So what are you doing?
Just like when she slides the plate closer to her, and like when she looks up, she's just kind of moving back and forth a little bit.
Okay, we can even say too, like if you're looking down, you're looking up. It's a mirage of faces looking up.
Yeah.
If you want to do that. Okay, cool. He doesn't seem to be intimidated by that. He doesn't even seem to be necessarily surprised by that. The eyes that you're looking into are completely alien. You're not familiar with them at all. The 27, the hand that he used to lift the tarp, which was his left hand, you see that it's like a gloved, it's some like heavy gloves on it. You notice that with a 27, you notice that the glove had a little tear in it right about here. The reason why you noticed that was because something seemed to, I'll say, we'll say that you're producing flame maybe less in the beginning of that, like right then and there, maybe, because we had to have some sort of form of light from this, or we could say that he had a torch probably placed in the car. So we'll do that. I will say he had a torch with him. But you can see that there's a little there's this glove didn't cover everything. There's like a little sort of like cut in here. And the reason why you notice that is that you see a hint of metal right there.
And then she immediately determines that might be Huxley.
You think about that the last scene we see is you just flicking the fire in your hands as you produce that flame, and you just hold it next to your food. You hear that whimper in the background of Gerard as we zoom up in a weird sort of way of like the idea that this crate seems to kind of go on forever as we pull back from you. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session. See you guys next week.